Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Charlene, Mia, Cross, good to see you. We have Dave from Grimwood Games. Good to see you, Dave. And Kim from Questboard Train. Hope you're all doing great. And with us today, making a triumphal return to the stream, is Dr. Bruce from Hounds and Jackals. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, doing great. Good to be back.
Okay, so we're here to talk mainly about your new campaign setting, which is Mystmoor. But would you like to give a quick recap about who you are and what you do, just for everyone who's new to the stream?
Oh, okay, sure. So Bruce Ballon, by day a psychiatrist, but I guess also by day still a role-playing gamer as well. Been in the role-playing game world since the D&D box game came out way back in the late 70s. So been in and out of the hobby for a long time. Um, and I guess I've always been involved with simulations and interesting things about subjective reality, which is why I'm a psychiatrist, also an educator who did lots of healthcare simulations, and worked decades ago on the Call of Cthulhu game and some other sorts of role-playing games as well. Then, life comes along, family and other things, and, on and off playing games here and there. And then the pandemic hit, and then, hey, we reconnected with everybody I used to play with, and that got me all back into the passion of wanting to create stuff again. And here I am.
Okay, speaking about creating stuff, I'm just going to leave a link in the chat for everyone who wants to drop any crafts into the community showcase. And we're probably going to have a look at that at the end of the stream. There we go. And yeah, I think we can just start talking about your Mistmoor project.
Yeah, so Mystmoor. I don't know where you want me to start, except the kind of.
Let's go to the beginning. Like, what is Mistmoor? What are we getting into?
So Mystmoor is basically. Actually, well, I will tell you how you got to Mystmoor because I was. So I'll go back to good old
Okay.
Scotty McFarlane, DM Scotty, and him putting out EZD6. And isn't that super exciting? And got me all super happy. And that got me switching everything over from doing 5e and all the rest of those, which I cannot play anymore ever since getting to EZD6. And
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah, and so that was lots of fun. And then I started building things. And then I was going to build like a post apocalyptic thing until I found out he was doing Wasted World, which
Okay.
switched me into. Oh, go ahead.
Wait, sorry. Was that before or after you started Assignment Danger?
Before. It was
Before?
going to
Oh,
be
okay.
like a gamma world, like way. So it wasn't like the Road Warrior one. It was going to be way like 2,000 years in the future, kind of Thundar the Barbarian type stuff. And it was going to be set in, and maybe I'll get to it someday. It's was going to be set in North Dakota with all the big foreheads as the gods and a lot of mutant prairie dogs. And the Northern Canadian beavers have taken over most of the North. It was lots of fun. And but then when I saw he was doing Waste World, I said, "Oh, it doesn't make sense. I'm just going to back off." And at the same time, I was watching a whole bunch of like Mission Impossible, James Bond things, and said, "Oh yeah, it's like Top Secret hasn't been done yet for this stuff." So that led to Assignment Danger, and then that was another campaign that I did, and that was very successful, and still building stuff for it. But I got a little tired of it, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to take a little break after I did one of the adventure books, The Anvil," which thank you for playing and doing some play testing,
Oh, it was
Carl,
fun. It was fun.
and another gang out there. And I said, "Oh, I'll just take a break." And I don't know. I saw a video on Tomb of Horrors, and I said, "Yeah, why not I do the Tomb of Horrors for EZD6 in my own way, updated?" And so I started doing that. And then as I was doing that, it slowly became a homage to this writer called Richard Matheson. And you might not know him. He used to run a ton of Twilight Zone episodes, did a movie called Hell House, Trilogy of Terror with his little Zuni fetish doll with a knife. I mean,
Okay.
you would probably know a lot of him if you actually said, "Oh, wait, he did that. He did that." so it started to become like a updated Legend of Hell House movie, or the book Hell House was now the Crypt of Terrors. And then I said, okay, so if I'm going to do that, I need to like launch them from somewhere. It's set somewhere. Uh, and so then I had to build like a little citadel and a real rich guy to kind of set them on. And that kind of said, well, okay, but where is it all going to happen? And while I was doing all this, I started watching some Sherlock Holmes films. And one of my favorite books, of course, is The Hound of the Baskervilles. And it just kind of clicked all together that I needed a fantasy, low magic setting, kind of like Dartmoor, Devonshire. And it all clicked together with all the Hammer horror films, all the British horror, Night of the Demon, like all this. It said that's going to be this, and it just kind of exploded, and that led to Mystmoor, which also like Mystara and Blackmoor kind of tribute, kind of like shoved
Oh,
together.
no, I
There's
didn't
lots of
catch it.
Easter eggs everywhere. In I tried to put in here.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I
sorry.
mean,
Go ahead.
I definitely noticed the Easter eggs.
Yeah, and so and tons of homages to all the things that I was exposed to as a kid, which probably warped me into who I am today. So again, there's lots of, and I said, okay, it's going to be kind of a horror. There's also Cthulhu mythos is kind of blended in there, and it was going to be more investigative combat kind of stuff. Which again, if you go back to the original Conan stories by Robert E. Howard, he was part of the whole Cthulhu mythos thing, and
True, yeah.
Conan definitely Cthulhu mythos world. So again, it's kind of like that, and so Mystmoor became kind of like a anachronistic 1300 era 1300 kind of world with mostly humans, couple of, you might find an elf or half elf kicking around once in a while. And that oh, there you go. Richard Madison co-wrote the screenplay of The Last. In fact, Richard Madison wrote the book I Am Legend.
Oh,
He's the
okay.
one who created that became The Last Man on Earth, and then The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, and then that horrible one that I don't want to talk about, made by Will Smith, and also the whole Night of the Living Dead pays tribute to that.
No
Richard
way.
Matheson, he's everywhere.
Whoa, okay.
I love Richard Matheson.
Okay, let's just take a
But thank you
second.
for posting that. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thanks, Chris. And let's
Um,
just take a second to say hi to BGT who joined us and Dungeon Matron who is very happy about the tentacles.
Tentacles.
We like tentacles around here.
Omega Man. Yeah, I love that film. And you can see also in Scotty's Wasted World, which I'll plug because I love everything he does. He's got the whole Brotherhood of the Vampires from the Omega Man in Wasted World.
Oh, okay, I didn't catch it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Scotty also I see loves tons of old movies, and he has tons of references in all his things. Just have to keep an eye out,
Yeah, I
like
mean
why zombies are
that.
called Romeros and things like that.
Yeah,
But
I know. It's like sometimes I know that I caught a lot of references, but I have no idea how many went right over my head.
yeah. And again, like when I this whole project to me, again, it's kind of labor of love. Say like I'm not out to me, I don't think I'm going to make any money, probably going to lose money, but I don't care because I'm in a position that I can do that. I'm not actually trying to be like a big company. I'm just doing this because it's part of what makes me happy. And I like engaging with other people with, similar likes and getting a chance to play games again. And when people go, hey, cool, let's reminisce about all these like old movies and stuff. And if they want to get like some of the meta clues, like, oh, okay, I know her. She's going to turn into a giant panther if we have some sort of intimate relation with her, aren't we? Go, oh, yeah, you saw that movie, didn't you? So I do throw some twists, though, to kind of like play with the meta thinkers out there. But yeah, that's Mystmoor,
Okay, so
a big giant land full of mist with lots of spooky tales, with a nice big citadel in it, which is full of corrupt people running the place, but it all looks so nice. with lots of different types of scenario hooks and places you can bump into that are homages to, as I said, Hammer films, and lots of the kind of like Val Lewton and all sorts of different things, in the Quatermass films, all sorts of stuff there. And again, the Crypt of Terrors, which kicked it all off, is going to be a scenario I will write for it. I have like a few different scenarios. You played one again, like the Mist.
Mm-hmm.
So Murder on the Mist. That's going to be like an intro scenario for people to come into, which is, on a riverboat. Just there you go. Yeah, going down that Mist River, heading to the Citadel on a nice riverboat. Everything's so nice until strange things happen.
Yeah,
And
it
we won't
all
say
looks so
what.
nice on the surface, doesn't it?
Yeah. As somebody said, I forget who, I think it was Steve. This escalated quickly, as they said from another movie.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
yeah, I have a few different scenarios. The Eagle of Ashcroft Hall, which you were also kind of involved in, that's a whole other. That's going to be a little mini campaign. There'll be the Crypt of Terrors and so on. That's all going to be extra things on top of the core book, which will talk about the entire land. Have tons of NPCs, tons of monsters, tons of scenario hooks, and also how to like my way of thinking of magic items, which is each of them should be unique. I call them hauntiques, more like
Oh,
every
okay.
magic item should actually have a backstory and feel some gravitas, as opposed to just some I got the +1 ring of protection. Woohoo! It's like, yeah, okay. This is low magic setting, so any one of these things is like, wow, amazing. So yeah. Ooh, Dungeon Matron knows Quatermass. Okay. Yes, Quatermass is one of my heroes. Love all his films. Oh, and you will see, if you saw the Quatermass conclusion, there's some art. We don't have it there, of the planet people. There's a bunch of people walking around some of the standing stones with their little pendulums, trying to say we're all going to be rescued by the great powers above.
Let me find it because
There's
I
a lot of
think
Quatermass references in this.
we do have those. Let me just find them. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I forgot I did send that to you. This is a Quatermass reference from the Quatermass conclusion.
Okay, I
Um,
have no idea what that is.
okay, I will tell you what happens in the movie, but it doesn't happen in the scenarios. It's basically there's this alien force that set up all these standing stones, and at certain times it makes everybody who's young slowly fall under its spell to gather at these stones. And then a beam comes down, sucks them all up, and protonizes them for food for these creatures up above. It's something similar happens here, but not exactly the same.
Okay,
But that's the type of stuff you'll be running into here, is real nasty stuff.
okay. I thought it was some kind of Wickerman reference, but really went off the mark on that one.
Well,
Okay,
that's the thing too. Again, a lot of the art, as you will see, as you know, totally references tons of movies and all sorts of different characters. And yeah, again, even on the Kickstarter, I'm running that guess that NPC kind of thing, because I do think people like to have that kind of fun. Like, oh, I know what that is. It's just kind of
yeah.
fun. I like playing those games. It's like the Simpsons and all that, where they always make references to movies and go, "Oh, I get what they're doing." So I know I like it, so I figure other people might like it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely had. We were talking before the stream, and I was like, okay, is this one that guy? This is one that lady? Whatever. I did get a few, but yeah, I see that Loosely Collected joined us. Hello, sir. And in the meantime, I'm going to drop a link to the Mystmoor Kickstarter, which was already financed, I think, 3 hours into the from start. Yeah,
Yeah, luckily I have a lot of nice backers out there uh,
yeah,
who have
that was
jumped
really good
in.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, and there we go. Oh yeah, you said you couldn't guess everybody here.
Okay, so
You
I think
guessed some.
I got. Let's see, Christopher Lee,
That is
Vincent
Christopher Lee, definitely. Yes,
Vincent Price. I think there is
yes,
that's Anthony Hopkins just behind the EZD6 logo.
yeah, yeah.
And
Anthony Hopkins, definitely.
okay, these three, I have no idea.
Anyone out there? No. Well,
Okay, by the way, who's
there
doing?
we go.
Oh, and
Uh, uh, some.
is this one Kurt Russell?
Sorry, yeah, that's Kurt Russell
Yeah.
from The Thing. Yeah, and way over there is the guy from the that's Sidney Greenstreet from the Maltese Falcon.
Okay. Would you believe
There's
they
a whole
have?
bunch of 70s people you might. Orson Welles is way at the top. You just see his eye by the M,
Okay.
and there's and you just see the jaw of Jack Nicholson up above.
Would you
And
believe if I told you that I never watched the Maltese Falcon?
sorry,
Would you believe if I told you I never watched the Maltese Falcon?
I believe you, even though you're from Malta, right?
Yeah, I should definitely fix that at some point.
It's one of my favorite films. I don't know why. I just like I just because I raised it's funny. I think people who love that's Boris Dungeon Matron is 100% correct. That's Boris Karloff in the
Which one
film
is
from The Raven, a little bit
the
older. The
this guy over
Hammer,
here?
yeah,
Okay.
that's Boris Karloff. Some people on Kickstarter already guessed who the half skeleton face person is. It's from a movie that a lot of people can't stand, and it seemed like it should have been good. It's the movie Ghost Story. That's Alice Krige, who also plays the Borg Queen in First Contact and in Discovery. Sorry, not Discovery. Star Trek Voyager. Yeah. Well, she's this really great kind of European actress. So from the Ghost Story, she's this vengeful ghost.
Okay.
And the one in the middle, I guess people don't watch a lot of Hammer horror films if they haven't spotted. That's Ingrid Pitt, who's like plays all the female vampire roles and like in one of the like the vampire lovers from 1970s, Mirkala Karnstein.
Yeah.
As I
No.
said, not everyone will get everything, but I know these are the things I loved growing up on. And way down is Carl Kolchak, one of my favorite heroes of TV. He's right under the Shadowdark face
Okay.
there.
I think there's
Like, yeah.
another picture of him later on. But by the way, who drew all these portraits? Because I mean, the likenesses are very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And luckily, it's again, art costs a heck of a lot, but I go to Fiverr and I try to find new artists that are
Hmm.
trying to break in. And they say, okay, happy to pay what you want, but at least I can get a good break. And when I find a really good artist, and I'm sure I won't be able to use them forever because then they'll become so good they'll become too costly for me. And then, but get good art while I can, because that's the other thing too is no AI for me. I like AI for if I'm just kind of like saying, okay, in something to get my mind going, or AI for just like in my own kind of stuff to kind of just create some images to get for showing players, but I would never sell it. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's why I do everything AI. No, it's all about organic human art for all these things. So it takes a
Definitely.
heck of a long time as well.
But I mean, it's worth. I mean, both in this one and even Assignment Danger. The artwork is really good quality, and it's got that hand-drawn vibe to it that you used to get in all their RPG rule books and modules.
Oh yeah, and again, a lot of Mystmoor is based on old style, so it's kind of like Keep on the Borderlands meets Griffin Mountain. If anyone even remembers Griffin Mountain from RuneQuest and all, the Tomb of Horrors. So it's like, yeah, black and white. The covers for books, sure, color, but in the end, the inside's going to be more kind of like tributes to old school style art because that's what I like. So there you go. This, of course, is color, but that's going to probably, I'm thinking that might be the cover of the core rule book.
Oh, nice. And I like the texturing as well in there.
Yeah. And this is actually a secret tribute to a couple of films. I don't know if people can guess that there's at least two film references that just pop into mind. Well, thankfully, Lucid Collected, I am I like live artists. And in fact, on my campaign page, and I tell all the artists this, I throw in a bonus, which is I turn them into NPC characters and they're going to be in there. They draw themselves as an NPC, and I'm going to write them up and put them into the game as well. So they all pop up on the Kickstarter page. So you know exactly who they are. None of them want to be human. One wanted to be a cat demon. I said, sure, you can be a cat demon. Why not? Whatever you want to be.
Power of imagination.
But if anyone can guess two film references,
I don't know. I'm drawing blanks on this one.
Okay, well, one is John Carpenter's The Fog. I don't know if you've seen the poster of all the dead sailors coming out of the fog. But again, since Mystmoor is all about fog and things, that's kind of like that. It's burning at the end of the. Yeah, that is a bit of the red. It's a combo, but yes, I will say there is that. Does anyone recognize this mask? This mask will appear in almost all the Mystmoor stuff because it's the head bad guy's symbol,
Okay.
Emmerich the Undying. But it's a classic. This film I love. It's from 1960. Yeah, the fog. But this mask, no one has ever seen Black Sunday, Barbara Steele.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
If you haven't seen Black Sunday, it's a classic Mario Bava Italian film. It is so cool. Vampires, witches, great atmospheric stuff. Army of Darkness. Well, again, you have to remember Sam Raimi and all them loves all these films too. But yeah, this is the mask they were at the very beginning, and you'll see it. It is a mask with a whole bunch of like spikes that they would put on witches in that movie, and then they would take a hammer and slam it onto their face just before they
Ugh.
burn them at the stake.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a Mario Bava movie. I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
watched this one, but I think I watched a couple of those.
Barbara Steele, she was epic. Yeah, I agree. Good old Barbara Steele.
Right, and I think
She's in the game too. She's actually the captain of the guard of the Citadel, Barbara Steele. Yeah. And I did. I went to a couple of different artists to get the cover thing, and I said, "Oh, I like this one too." So that's why you'll see this. It because it again, when you're first experimenting, it's like, okay, let me throw out this to a few different people and get an idea of what their style is, and then I say, okay, I like this guy, but I'm going to use him for interior art because he doesn't do color anyway. So he's doing a whole bunch of stuff, including a whole bunch of images for the Murder on the Mist.
mhm.
I think I showed you a sample. I won't tell you what monster and situation he's drawing, but you guys said, "Ooh, that looks cool." Yeah. So he's a keeper.
I definitely like all
And
the different textures and shape. The line work is really beautiful.
mm-hmm. You haven't seen Loosely Collected said you haven't seen Black Sunday. I believe you can find it on Tubi. I don't know if you guys have Tubi. I love Tubi. Tubi. It's this it's not like Netflix. It's one of those things you can just go on and commercials, but got tons of 70s and 60s and like nice old stuff.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like
You
that.
could like watch old stuff all day long. And
Yeah,
my
definitely.
kids always go, "Why are you watching this stuff?" My youngest can't stand black and white. And I go, I don't know. I love black and white. Yeah. So that's the Citadel on the moor in the background and the chief bad guys kind of symbolism. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of his shock troops are really come from the Tomb of the Blind. Sorry. Yeah, Tombs of the Blind Dead. If anyone's watched that old Italian film. So about
Okay.
a bunch of
I I
satanic Templars.
I haven't watched that, but I remember that when Sandy Peterson was on the stream, he went on at length about that one. He said it was I believe he said it was one of his favorite horror movies or something.
It's cool. Yeah. And so that's kind of like his a lot of his agents or a lot of the undead Templars. The Tingler in it. You want the Tingler?
What's the Tingler? Are you sure that's a horror movie?
It is with Vincent Price again and
Ah, okay.
Roger
All
Corman,
right.
and he would electrify seats in the audience to make them jump. Yeah, I mean, again, as it expands, I might put things in there like that, but there are things from other Corman films in there. Said a lot of the Richard Matheson stuff, like the little Zuni fetish doll, is in it. If you guys have ever seen that, no, where this person gets this doll, brings it home, has this little chain on it. It's like this, Zuni fetish doll with a knife, And when the chain falls off, it comes to life and starts chasing this woman around her apartment trying to kill her. That's the entire segment of this movie. It's pretty cool. But I turned him into like this little Ushubati Egyptian style kind of creature.
Okay.
So he's, there's like they've all been converted slightly. And lots of like old 70s TV horror film type stuff is in here too. Like the original Don't Be Scared of the Dark. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I'm
Like
afraid
these are the
not.
types of things like I remember from my childhood that freaked me out. Uh, yeah, me is okay too. Yeah, there's these little kind of creature gnomes living in the dark. These people move into a house and they accidentally open up something and they get loose. They're always trying to drag this woman down into this bottomless pit. Some friends stated that several years back.
Okay, so I see that Lucy collected this in for
Yeah,
definitely building his mental database of horror.
yeah. To me, yeah, Halloween is every day of the year for me. I love Halloween, and I'm one of those haunts that build giant elaborate things in the front of the yards for Halloween and so on. That's probably not a surprise for anyone when you think about it for me. But yeah, love horror films. Oh, the doll chasing the woman around is one of the scariest things I watched when I was young.
Okay,
Yeah, I know that.
I'll be honest. I think when I was 3 years old, the scariest thing I had watched was I think the Banshee from Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Sorry,
The Banshee from Darby O'Gill and the Little People. It's an old Disney movie. Yeah, when
hmm,
you're three, it's pretty traumatizing, I think.
yeah. Well, that's a good thing about watching things as a kid. Well, maybe not so good, but it definitely burns into your mind. But yeah, and it's like whoa, because these are things that stick with me. The Sentinel is great. Yes. Oh yeah. By the way, there is an image. I didn't send you a picture, but Burgess Meredith is in there with his little bird in this game. He is a character.
Okay.
Yes, he is there because yes, that is a classic film. I'm trying to also like put in films people seem to have forgotten, but that I always like that film. Oh, we also have good old blind John Carradine in here as well from the Sentinel.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And here's Carl Cole Shack, but as Carl medieval style for the Night Stalker fans. Darby O'Gill, the dog. Oh, Darby O'Gill and the little people. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Because one of the things, too, I'm going to try to write up for this thing is about how to handle humor in horror. Because,
Oh,
again,
okay. That's a
just as
pretty
a
good subject.
side, yeah. Because, again, one of the things I loved about the Cole Shack, like Night Stalker, Night Strangler, and the TV show, and I think most people did, is there's humor in it and there's horror. But it was always handled in a way that whenever there's horror, there is no humor. There is no humor. There might be like him like bumbling around and stuff, but you're feeling, oh, he will die if he's not careful. But when you're not in those situations, there's more banter along with like dealing with the cops or dealing with his boss or dealing with people. That's where the humor is held. And there's a certain thing about the whole concept of ebbs and flows and the tension. Like if you keep people constantly tense all the time, the horror doesn't work. You need to have them relax. That's why there's things like jump scares and people like, what? Calm down. What? Calm down. And that's kind of something I find like people sometimes don't get when running these games. It's not like keep them constantly tense the whole time. No, you want to have throw them off guard or at least have a calm time, a little bit of bickering or whatever it is, just to kind of like make the horror more intense, but also the calm more and the fun more intense. And yeah, so I'm just going to be putting in some like tips for that sort of thing.
Oh, this is going
And
to be
again,
very
like
useful.
there's a formula. Like the Kolchak thing started the whole monster of the week concept, but they also had this kind of thing like here's a death. You don't really see the monster; it's kind of off screen. Then you have some fun discussion, investigation. Monsters may be seen again in shadow. Then you see it killing more people. We'll talk about red shirts in a second because this is going to lead to my Star Trek stuff that I put in here as well. But because again, it's the red shirts or even the cops in the Kolchak thing. People got to die, but you don't want your PCs to die yet. or hopefully not at all. But having people and seeing the effects of the menace you're facing, more and more clues until it's built up, is a good way to kind of raise the tension without necessarily putting people in life and death till you actually face the monster or threat. And then there's the aftermath.
So basically, most of what the monster does early on is happening off screen, right?
Yeah, you can try again. You don't want to railroad anything, but the thing is, there's ways to kind of introduce players to things that you're coming to the scene after the fact, and then they can start to try to track the thing and all that sort of stuff, for example. But it's the same thing like Star Trek. It's like there's a reason they had red shirts. It's to show the menace without killing your main characters off right away. Usually, again, you don't want to kill off Kirk or Spock, but it's those red shirts like, look, the vampire cloud just sucked 10 people to death. Or look, the Gorn, bzz, I'm dead. But I always find that it's a very useful tool because it's saying, oh, look what it can do. So it's like for those foolhardy players who think I can just do anything, it's like, yeah, did you just see what happened to your lackey? Yeah, so that's why again in Mystmoor, at the Citadel, the city guard are called the Red Tunics, and they're basically the red shirts of Star Trek, and they are sent around and they die quite a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like Star Trek and even Space 1999, there are some Space 1999 monsters I've taken and thrown in here too. They have horror. There's horror elements in there. And it's funny, just since we're just rambling here, Star Trek has Robert Bloch wrote a few of the scenarios, I guess, episodes. Now, who's Robert Bloch? He wrote Psycho, if you remember him, and he is a part of the H.P. Lovecraft circle, and he was good friends with
Really?
Richard Matheson, and he did a bunch of those TV movies as well in the 70s. But it's interesting. He wrote like 3 Star Trek episodes. First one was What Are Little Girls Made Of, which is actually at the Mountains of Madness,
No
H.P.
way.
Lovecraft style, done in a way. At least that's how I've seen it. It's the place where they go down and there's all these androids taking over everybody, and these androids killed all the old ones and took over, just like in the Mountains of Madness. So you can see this Cthulhu mythos also snuck into Star Trek. Then he wrote another one, Wolf in the Fold, which is like a Jack the Ripper entity that travel is immortal, eating fear, going around. That's a good episode. And the one I didn't like was called Cat Spots, these 2 sorcerers, and one turns into a giant cat and all that. But he always wrote horror stuff. But, some of that stuff is in Mystmoor as well because, hey, anything 70s, 60s, and cool, it's going to be there. Oh, yeah, Space 99 Dragon's Domain. Yes, Mia geeked. That monster is in Mystmoor
Okay, so
because he's my favorite. He's one of those guys that also is like, that burnt my memory too. I don't know if you saw that,
ooh,
Carl. The creature that has one big eye
I don't think
hypnotizes
so.
people to jump in its mouth with his giant tentacles, then spits them out all burnt. I
No,
loved
I
it because
haven't
it was
watched
prime time for kids.
it. I'm definitely looking that up. But yeah, campaign terrain is saying rising tension interspairs with human and mundanity is why Alien is so great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this at one point. It's like if you have the tension constantly up, whether it's
Yeah,
fantasy or sci-fi or whatever, then it's not really
Chris.
horror at that point. It's
Yeah, exactly. And because again, even like Tumo, I remember when I was just starting with this, people, oh, everyone knows how to do horror. You just kill everybody. We talk about Tumo horrors, for example. Again, it's like you go in and you get killed. It's horror. Well, not really. It's just death. No, horror is like making the players feel dread for their characters, about nervousness, about what do I do? you know, Feeling a little bit like ambiguous situations, unclear what to do. And yeah, killing off total party kills, I don't find that very useful. Torturing people's characters for no apparent reason. No, it's got to
yeah,
be done in a way that's still engaging and entertaining in a sense. It might not be fun, but the players are still invested in it, like listening to a good ghost story or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Whereas if the tension is always up, it's like something bad is going to happen. End of story. It's like we're not, we're just going to end terribly, and it. Funny enough, I think increasing the tension just kills the suspense at some point.
Well, yeah, because again, there's a certain point where, if you're just too anxious, like if you're held at a certain point, you'll eventually burn out.
Hmm.
And then you'll just get depressed. I mean, that's the thing with post-traumatic stress disorder, other types of anxiety. If you're constantly in that for a long period of time, you will slowly start to no longer be anxious. You'll just be exhausted.
Mm.
And then it's kind of like, you want to like have people stop. That's like even again, even in what do they call them? Haunted houses and
Hmm.
carnivals and all that. Or why they have roller coasters and not constantly going. There's parts where it slows down to let you appreciate what you just experienced and get you ready to dread what's coming next. That's to
Hmm.
me part of the whole essence. There, okay, Maddie, see, yeah. Well, Star Trek, the original series, I still love it. There's really good stuff there. Oh yeah, so here are some of the original play testers of some of Mystmoor.
Okay.
That's part of Mystmoor Tour is it's an experiment. I went on Kickstarter specifically to kind of let people join in. I've always pictured Kickstarter because I was on Kickstarter way back when it first started coming out, when games and things were there, and backers were considered part of wanting to. It wasn't like a store like I'll just buy this and then it'll come out. It's 99% done. Buy it here. Thanks. Okay, versus before it's like input. It was almost like a social community. It wasn't set up that way. But to me, it's like when I do Kickstarters, I feel I'm going to have fun. I pretty much sure I'm going to make it because I set it at a low bar. I make sure I'm got most of my assets and everything done already, so I know I'll deliver. But then how far can I go to bring people in, build more community, and so on? So with Mystmoor, with this campaign too, anyone who's a lot of people who I know will end up in it. But there's also for backers, I said it like, okay, there's different tiers you can do, which is you want to own a shop somewhere in Mistmore, take this tier, give me some information, we'll build it. You want to have a noble family name, I'll make a coat of arms for you, and we'll put it in the game as well. And if you want to have a whole manor house and a noble family, we can do that as well. So there's different tiers. And also, if you wanted to be a full-blown NPC or create one like these types, yeah, I mean, just pay for what it would cost me to do the artist plus $5 for me to write something up all together in, and we'll build something to actually put into the game as well. So yeah, these are like 3 characters there. So, and again, people are seeming to do that. And I'm almost all out of the Pure of the Realm ones and the Ducal Defenders. I thought they're all, I didn't think a lot of them would go, but whoop, 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 they're all going. So I say cool. And that's why, again, I also set they'll probably come out sooner, but I always give myself a good few months to deliver everything because I want to take all this material and work with people to really make it anyone who's putting in some of their own skin and wanting to be part of this and get a little bit of immortalization of sorts, treat it with respect and get it done.
Yeah, I was interested in your strategy for going with Kickstarter because the way I saw it, you've got the setting is done, the artwork is done and paid for, I guess, and everything is ready. And you're still selling through Drive to RPG, right? So you're not actually printing physical copies elsewhere and sending them off. So I did find it interesting that you were going through Kickstarter, but now that you mentioned that it's part of the community building, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, most people picture Kickstarter as get the money for building it, and it's useful because some of the money definitely will go to my layout person, graphic artist, and editor because I need editing definitely because I love writing, but as you know, most writers have a hard time editing their own work. Need someone with a hatchet to kind of take to it. So that's where the money usually goes for that. But yeah, again, I just find like people who might not know about what I'm doing, Kickstarter is a great place. because there is backer kit. I was going thinking backer kit versus Kickstarter, but I understand when I did all my research, backer kit seems good for people who have established communities. They're like big companies and people who, you know, everyone knows where to find you. You'll announce it to your people and they'll do that. Versus Kickstarter, it's like all sorts of people are browsing all the time. That's how I used to find things, just by browsing on
So
Kickstarter and go,
kind
that
of
looks
by
cool.
random discovery kind of thing. Yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And so just turned it into, to me, as I said, it's like a community engagement tool to kind of see who would pop up. Yeah, easy enough for me just to finish this off and flip it on to Drive Through RPG. But then I would not have had the chance to actually have all these different backers say, yeah, here's your my noble house. Like again, I don't know. I just think it's kind of fun to
Oh yeah,
have
absolutely it is.
people.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
Okay. Grimwood Games is saying, where did I put it? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's very, 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 very difficult to be an editor for yourself. But think about it. I mean, if you sit down and you start writing, when you're done, you're going to say, okay, this is absolutely the best thing I could do. So you know, it's like cutting out lines and rewording stuff. And it's like, it's it, being an editor for yourself is pretty unintuitive. It's possible, but it takes an entire switch of mindset and yeah, it's not you. It's not just you. It's like it is a very difficult thing to do objectively.
Oh yeah. And again, depending how much you write, eventually, you know, what was that old joke about? Uh, why am I go? I'm having one of those moments. The guy who drinks mojitos in Cuba.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Who drinks mojitos in Cuba? You know, somebody
Tourists.
must know the guy who drinks mojitos in Cuba. And the writer. Anyways, he said, "I apologize to my readers for my long article. I didn't have enough time to write a shorter one."
Hunter
Yeah.
Thompson.
Well, if you don't get it, it's more like because it takes more time to really get it concise, chop, 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 really make it potent. That's a lot of work. It's so much easier to do free flowing thought and just put out tons of stuff. And that, thank you,
Oh,
BGD
there you go.
Hemingway. Thank you, thank you. I don't know
Thanks,
why,
Chris.
but yes, but yes. The key, of course, is just being able to take that time. It's a lot of work to really make things shine. And that's why, again, a lot of the not so great products you come across, just walls and walls of text that just you drown in. Versus, again, back to Scotty and his EZD6 is like,
Bullet points. Pop,
hey,
pop, pop, pop,
look,
pop.
bam, 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 wham, wham, wham. Let's run with it. Cool. Even his scenarios in his book of quests, like wham, wham, bam, bam. Here's the essentials. And again, the key, of course, I believe, is you have to be having some experience as a game master to really make the stuff work really well. Then you could just run with it.
Yeah, but
But
by the same token, even if you have less experience as a game master, a wall of text isn't going to help you, right?
yeah, you just don't want to look at it all. It's like, again, sure, throw it in an appendix if I'm really interested in it. But there's the thing about Mystmoor as well, as I'm trying not to put too much backstory in. It's kind of like a little bit of flex. There is like some basic things. There is a meta plot with a villain, but again, it's modular. You can take it, things as you want. It doesn't really matter if you play here or there. To me, it's like just as long as you're having fun and playing stuff, cool.
So
I
it's
mean,
more
like if
like
you want to go through the Crypt of Terrors right off the bat, you'll probably die because it's like
fair enough, yeah.
dangerous unless the person still set you up as high level kind of characters to begin with. Cool, but you know, leaving space in the land for game masters to put their own stuff in makes sense. It goes back to that old B2 Keep on the Borderlands, which also is this place
That is a
tribute to.
massive classic. But
Yeah, there's like places to go,
mhm.
but there's a lot of room, and he maybe a little bit too much. Like he names nobody, Gary Gygax in that. You know, it's like you do all the work, but in a sense, it does make it your world too. It's a nice framework. as opposed to having to take an entire world like the Forgotten Realms and like, now I'm stuck with this versus saying, I don't know. Just like again, if and the Kickstarter said, "Do you want a tiefling in there?" It's like, I don't know. I didn't put any tieflings in there. Doesn't stop people from putting them in, but doesn't kind of fit what I wanted to do. But you can put it in. Make a Hellboy type character. Sure, go for it. But just think about how it works for your world, and if it's going to create some sort of imbalance of power and weirdness in it, and throw off whatever theme it is. But hey, once you put something out, let people run with it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes things go in unexpected directions, but also I'm surprised sometimes that people will want some things in every game, and to be clear, I totally disagree with that. And they don't say, "Okay, I'm just going to try this out exactly as written, just to get the feel of it as it was intended."
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think mostly older players will prefer just to, okay, let's see how this one works out. And might be wrong, but from my experience, it's mostly younger players who are like, nope, I want this thing from this other game that I was playing, and it has to be everywhere.
Yeah. And again, I think it gets back to, I guess, your point of view on how role playing games should work and so on. And again, this is a whole other philosophical thing. But, when you're playing with me, it's like, I'm fine. Like, again, I'm just kind of like going along, making things flow.
Oh,
But
that
I'll
sounds
turn to
cool.
you
Make it
sometimes,
happen. Yeah.
Carl, and say, "Hey, Carl, what's the rules on this again?" Or how's it when we just all make up, okay, we all agree, let's do this, make a roll, and bam, you know, but it's not that in the book.
Eh.
Yeah, but for this situation, let's do it this way because it seems to make sense. Does everyone agree? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Um, yeah, the written as what's it? Rules as written. The trouble is a lot of the rules sometimes in some games are not that clear or they contradict themselves
Yeah,
and you're still stuck with having to make a ruling.
true. But it's also a question of rather than the rules, it's more the flavor of the setting or the world that you're playing in. You know what I mean?
That's true. When I was a younger player, way back when we used to go to like tournaments and all that, where they'd let you play like, the Monty Hall dungeon. Is that
Is
Monty Hall was this guy who played what was it called now? It was is a game where you pick doors and you win tons of prizes. And if anyone's as old as me out there, you'll remember. But the Monty Hall dungeon was a reference to you go in and you get tons of gold and treasures and artifacts, and you're all 20th level characters.
yeah,
And
was
all we
was
would
that?
do in those things was take the dungeon master's guide and find every loophole you can and build yourself invincible characters. And then you would argue with the DM about, no, look at this. It's written here. There is no saving throw. Ha ha, ha ha. I remember one time, one guy got so upset with me because I wiped out 20 other player characters because I built my character pretty good that he sent Demogorgon after me with 12 Death Knights to take me out. Took a few rounds, but they did kill me eventually. But yeah, that's the trouble with written as rules as written. With it's like you. I'd rather get back to the spirit of the game.
Yeah,
Let's make a deal.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
the
it.
Monty Hall
Thank
one.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
the Monty Hall. Yeah, they were fun though. Playing 20th level characters, it's just so unbalanced. Nothing makes sense.
uh, in the more recent editions, it gets super complicated because as you scale up, they just keep adding special rule and special visit. Like you have a rule book just for this one character. It's like, why? Just roll dice, have fun, play.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the generic. Yeah, that's why I like B2. I remember B1 was even wackier. It was completely, you have all the treasures on a list and you would stock them in the different rooms. Didn't matter if it made any sense or not. But it was this concept in B1 as well as B2 to try to get you as the game master to put your own spin on things. Because I think that's the real kind of way. Because people forget the game master is a player too, and they got to have fun.
Hmm.
not just there for the other players. You're all there together to have fun. That's how I always looked at it. Because why game master if you're not having fun? Do with age.
I play with a guy who's many years my senior, and he constantly wants to tinker with games and doesn't run anything rules as written. He drives me a little
Yeah.
crazy. I'm more of the camp who wants to give the game a shot, rules as written, before it making changes. Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is that if you change something before you play it, you don't have any idea of what kind of knock-on effect it's going to have down the lane.
I'm agreeing with Maddie C there. He says that's what he likes about rule light games. And again, I am now starting to call like EZD6 and that rule streamed games. Because although they seem light, they can still be quite depthful. Because that's the other, there's two games I'm using Mystmoor for play testing. One is EZD6 and the other one is Shadowdark. And the reason I like Shadowdark is it's a streamlined, nice version of 5e, OSRE type of stuff. It's just nice in the sense that it's not overcomplicated, making my head explode if I'm trying to run 5e. It just, it's like, yeah, start simple and then build on top of it with your player group. So, but I consider that as opposed to light, streamlined, like really effective things of people who have spent years in the field doing this stuff and learning from others and saying, oh, why don't we put all the things we've learned together into this nice streamlined set of rules? Nice. At least these are the ones I like so far. I mean, there's so much. That's the other thing about Mystmoor too. It's system agnostic, even though I'm going to write some EZD6 stuff for it and Shadowdark for it. Trying to write it in a way that there's this explosion of tons and tons of people's indie games coming out, which are all kind of similar and overlapping in this OSR type of stuff and that. So I'm thinking, how do you write anything that's kind of useful for more people than just one game system? So kind of thinking about how you try to write it in a way people can make use of these things. Versus saying I can only use this if I'm using this particular system. It's
Yeah,
like, well, no.
I know the mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, I mean, it might be a function of how I got into gaming, for example, because I remember that my first group many years ago, we mostly used to use the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay setting because it's an amazing setting. It's got I think at the time it already had about 20 years of background and work on it. But the system was so complicated, so we just used, okay, we're just going to use D&D second edition for this, and we're going to have fun. So, it's also a thing of mixing and matching. It's not like, no, this is the book, we shall use the book as it is only. We shall
Oh,
not use
yeah.
other settings and ideas.
Although, yeah, because again, once you find really good modules or adventures, like I used to take Keep of the Borderlands and flip it into Gamma World. And I would take like the Legion of Gold and flip it into like D&D because they're similar. I mean, like, I don't know, once you get the feel, especially because, well, it's kind of like similar systems in a sense, but not exactly. But there should be, if it's a well-written material, you should be able to run it with lots of different game systems in theory, with a little bit of elbow grease and some work. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is make believe. Yeah. So,
We're just
you,
looking
you
at
can adapt anything to anything.
I'm going to play index card. I'm going to do Rune Jammer this time around. I'm running some games, but I've never actually played ICRPG yet. So I'm looking forward to doing one finally to see what that's like.
It's super streamlined. I really enjoyed it anytime I tried it.
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
index
it's
cards.
it's it's slightly more rules heavy than EZD6, but not, to be honest, not by much.
Well, the fact there's like a good following. Again, I'll always support indie games. Oh, okay. More
Okay, no, definitely indie games are
People
quite
can
good, but
guess
the
all the different. Yeah, so I was nice. It's nice enough that a lot of these people I reached out to ask. I would love to feature you. There's more than just these people too, but you know, over the years, there's different people I've really said, "Oh, you're cool," or I like listening to your YouTube channel, or I like your game, or you say, "Would you like to be one of the NPCs?" I'll whip up an image of you, and you can tell me what you want to be, and there you go.
okay, so the first three, I think so. That's DM Scotty.
Yeah, that's definitely DM Scotty.
This one
Anyway,
is Dan, Professor Dungeon Master from Dungeoncraft.
yes.
This one is Kelsey from the Arcane Library.
Yes.
Okay,
And just to kind of say, like, again, from my own things that growing up, so Scotty's going to be based on Merlin from Excalibur,
okay,
the movie. Professor Dungeon Master is going to be related to Name of the Rose, Brother Baskerville.
okay, yeah.
And Kelsey is actually based on Jack of Shadows from Roger Zelazny, which I don't know if anyone even remembers Roger Zelazny. He did the Amber series and they made the Amber role playing game from. But he had
I
this cool character in
I
this
I
book
remember
of
I remember Ember, but I had never heard of Jack of the Shadows before. I looked that up, and it does look super interesting.
yeah, it's cool. And he had cool powers with shadows where he's stepping in. And, it's really cool. Okay.
Okay, so let me think. Baron Drop.
Yep, you got it.
Ah, okay.
Here he is, Baron Cable, Explorer.
Okay,
Very
Eric Tenker from Tenker's Tavern.
exactly.
Okay, I'll be honest here, it was the booze that gave it away. Okay, this lady, I have no idea.
Okay, does anyone know who she is?
Yep, I agree. Amber was an amazing series.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Name of the Rose was amazing. Both the book and the movie was okay. The book was amazing though.
Yeah. Well, this is Polly Kidd. She writes tons of RPGs, lots of independent stuff. Uh I came across when I was trying to do what was it? I was made an EZD6 version of White Plume Mountain,
Okay,
and she actually wrote a book novelization of it too, and things like that.
all right.
So yeah, again, not everyone will be known, but some people will be known, and some not. But yeah, okay.
I'm sure someone will know someone. So, no idea.
No idea who that is.
Nope.
Uh, Justinius. Know any Justins? That's Justin Alexander. He wrote lots of material on how to be a game master.
Oh shit, the
Put out
Alexandrian.
books on being. Yeah, he's well
Ah,
known
okay, yeah,
in some
he
fields,
writes,
but
he wrote the
yeah. So
Alexandrian
he's an
and yeah.
apothecary.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, electric guitar dude. No idea.
Well, he's one of your fellow YouTubers, known as Indestructo Boy.
Oh, really? All right.
You might have heard of Indestructo Boy.
Yeah, I watched a few of his videos, but has he grown a beard?
But yeah, you probably if you look at his face closely, that is him.
Okay.
But he said he always he wanted to have music and things. So okay, you can be a barbarian. And although that you might wonder why he has a modern guitar, maybe no one wonders that, but there is a reason for it because there's something very bizarre in Mystmoor. It's the strange Twilight Grove, which is an interdimensional kind of portal, similar to where the Man Thing lives and all sorts of stuff. Because there's all the 70s comic book stuff in here too.
Yep.
Yep.
And again, no idea.
No idea. Seth. Oh, you what? He's another YouTuber. I can never say his last name properly.
Seth Skorkowski.
That's right.
Oh,
See,
good.
you
Okay.
got it. Yeah. So there he is. Like his last name. I always try to research the last name of people to come up with stuff. It's like, oh, it comes back to being a furrier or something. Whether I know that's what his name really means. That okay,
Really?
how about I make you a tailor and a furrier? So he's like the tailor of Panama kind of spy, one of those guys
Okay,
who sits around, knows all the knowledge, that sort of thing.
nice. Okay, so going by the accoutrements and the facial hair, this is Hankarin from Runehammer.
Yeah. Most people should guess him.
Okay,
Yes, he's one of the rare dwarfs in the place, a very giant dwarf who's like a master of making mystical object weapons.
okay, next one, I have no idea.
So that's Ron Fraser. You might see him too doing YouTube things. He was a nice guy who did my. He's the first guy ever asked me to go on a YouTube channel for
Oh,
Assignment
wait.
Danger and did a things for Assignment Danger.
I think
So hey,
he was
cool.
also in the when we were playtesting the Anvil.
Oh, the Anvil. Yeah, you
Yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
actually play
Okay,
with them. Yes. Yeah. So he wanted to be a warrior. And so he sent me some images of what he wanted to look like. So okay, we'll make
nice. All
that
right.
up. There he is. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know who
Yeah,
this
this
guy.
he
Who
looks
he is.
weird to be honest. It's like
Yeah,
yeah,
that's like, there we go.
it looks like he's up to no good. Okay, no idea.
And that's JP Cooper. I don't know if you look at his stuff, he does tons of. He's an artist and tons of like game mastering things.
Okay,
He has a great YouTube channel that I like, and so I made him an artist. He's like a noble who is secretly doing a rebellion against the powers that be in the Citadel.
okay. And Agranac Studios, I think.
There you go. Yes,
Yeah, to be honest, I recognized him from the Dragon Puppet.
yes. I could not help it. It's when you have a puppet like that. I said, you got to be in here. You gotta. It's that puppet, man. So yes, he is a wandering joculator with his like wonderful puppet. Although the puppet, of course, is probably alive and
It has a
has some
mind of its own. Yeah.
special
Oh,
powers. And
that's so good.
yeah,
Okay, no idea.
so that's Val from Quirkbirds and why am I? Sorry, Val, I forgot the name of your place, but she is also a YouTube personality. But she does all sorts of cool stuff with mystery and horror. And
Oh,
anyone who
nice.
does mystery and horror type stuff is like, okay, but in my books,
Okay, so no idea.
Val, exactly. Um, no one knows who that is. He's been around for a long time. Thank you, curiosities. Thank you.
Okay, interesting.
I'm gonna have to drink more coffee. Um, this is Kenneth
Hmm.
Height. I don't know if anyone knows Kenneth Height. He's
Mm-hmm.
been around for a long, long, long time. Does tons of stuff for Call of Cthulhu, Pelgrane Press, all sorts of things. He wrote entire like things for Delta Green. He's done things like Night's Black Agents, which is all about vampires. So, who vampires? Okay, you're going to be a vampire hunter. So that's why he's doing the classic scene from the Hammer horror film of Dracula.
Okay, next one, I'm going to say Ginny D.
That's right,
Okay.
Ginny D, which I called her Ginny Deanna Ravenwood. So she's basically Indiana Jones Ravenwood kind of combo. So kind of a obtainer of rare antiquities.
Okay, and last one, I have no idea.
And that's Robin Laws's character, which I made into Nibor the Magistrate, the Hanging Magistrate. Robin Laws has been around for a long
Wait,
time.
is
He
that
was
the Robin Law who wrote Feng Shui?
possibly he's written so much. I can't even tell you where to begin
Okay.
and where it ends. But he's been around for a while. Yeah. So as I said, I've all reached out to them and they're all very kind enough to allow me to use their likenesses to put in here. And so you will encounter them in Mystmoor and various different places.
Okay, let's see. Going on. Right. I think there's some interior to it. I think this has got a really strong Swamp of Sorrows vibe going on. Not sure
Yeah,
if
this
that's what's
is in
going on.
a this area of the Darkmire Swamp, which is one of the more deadly areas, and that's where the Crypt of Terrors is in the center of. But I mean, there's lots of bogs and swamps and horrible things you can encounter. And if anyone watched Never Ending Story, where that poor horse gets sucked whoop, down into the bog, that kind of inspired this kind of image.
Yeah, we don't talk about it. It's that's still a fresh wound.
Yes. Oh, yes, we already got good old Boris. I don't know. Rather than me just saying it, I don't know. People can call it out if they want. 60s and 70s TV show ran for years.
Okay, core points and
Dan Curtis.
curiosities. Okay, thanks for that, Chris. I'll probably have a look later. So
Yeah,
who's this again?
Curiosity. Vala's got really good content. Well, this is Barnabas Collins from Dark Shadows, the vampire. Though he's not a vampire in Shadow in Mystmoor, but
Okay,
again,
was that Dark Shadows? Was that the one that was remade as a Johnny Depp movie in the last?
well, yeah, they did. Yeah,
I
I don't
I
want
want
to
to say
talk about that
recently, but I
horrible
think it
remake.
was
But yes,
10
Dark
years ago. Yeah.
Shadows, the movie, is based on this old TV show, and this is Barnabas Collins.
Okay. Okay, Jack Nicholson.
Yes,
Okay, but
who takes his responsibilities very seriously, very, very seriously. So this is Jack Nicholson from The Shining kind of character.
okay. I was going to ask if it was the one from The Shining, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or Batman.
He's in a lot of films,
Oh
that
yeah,
fellow.
Anthony Hopkins. Okay.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, okay, good old Anthony.
So what is he in Miss Moore?
Well, he is actually the warden of the prison. Uh, yes, he is. He's the warden of the prison of the Mystmoor dungeons, which is similar to the Dartmoor prison that actually exists in historical world. But yes, and he has all sorts of interesting ideas on how to rehabilitate prisoners.
Yeah, I'm kind of imagining it's like, yes, we have had some escapees. No, we are not worried about it. Would you like some Chianti? Okay, Bruce Campbell.
Oh, I'm sure everyone will know this guy.
And let's see what else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and this is the one I put. Her line is, uh, "I say we we take off and go on top of the Tor and fireball them from there. It's the only way to be sure." Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Okay, so
probably everyone knows him.
I know it's Sigourney Weaver, but it's only because I think I saw the caption when you posted.
Yeah, yeah, everyone gets a funny caption
So this one I have absolutely no idea.
because you've
I
never
think you
seen
mentioned the
this movie.
movie.
I told you who it was, but most people probably from the 80s. This is a classic, and they did make a remake of it that Jordan Peele was the producer of, but I didn't like as much because I still like all the originals.
Okay, so
He says things like, "Please be my victim, be my victim." No,
Matty C did get Sigourney Weaver from earlier.
yeah. Okay. And if you guys haven't seen this, yes, Dungeon Matron got it again.
Nice.
I love Candyman. I watch this film once a year too. I cannot help it. I think I watch. It's amazing to get anything done because I have to watch many films once a year. And this is such a cool film.
Okay, definitely. Again, I looked up. I think I've got a backlog of about 50 years of horror movies to catch up to.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Also, no idea.
So this is a 70s film reference. And unless you, again, it's an Italian film. They made a remake of this too, which is absolutely horrible in my opinion.
They make
And it
entirely too
involves
many remakes.
witches and dancing. Well, you did like The Last Candyman. I still like the first, but that's because I got imprinted with the first one. But awesome. No, not Rosemary's Baby. This is actually, I'll just tell you, that's Jessica Harper from the film Suspiria. Oh,
There we
Quest
go.
Terrain, Questport Terrain got it. Yes.
Badoom.
Do. That's also an excellent film. Maybe I don't watch it every year, but there's one thing I love about Italian films. They're so colorful and so stylish. I gotta, just watch them. It's like, it's so artful. There's a lot of murder and horror going on, but boy, does it look good. The colors, the things, and this was not just the slash one. This got some supernatural elements in it, which is kind of fun.
Okay. Okay, not a clue.
People should be able to guess this one, maybe. All right. The quote I put on it was, they laughed at me.
Kerry?
No guesses on this one. Her mom said, they're all going to laugh at you.
I'm
Mother
guessing.
Superior.
Mother Superior?
Well, her mother, but in Mystmoor, that's the Mother
Okay,
Superior
okay. So,
because, but yeah, she's not a nun in the movie.
I'm thinking Stephen King's Carrie, but I'm not entirely sure.
That is correct. Yes, you're very, because you always have to have like a very, interesting nun in these types of horror films. There's lots of like scary nuns in horror films for some reason.
I think nuns are objectively nuns are scary. So okay.
I think we already went through her. That's Alice Krige
Mm-hmm.
from Ghost Story and so on. And if you haven't seen Ghost Story, I wouldn't necessarily need to see it, but she's really good in most things. She makes the entire film.
Okay. So let's see, jumping ahead. Okay, and I think we're getting onto the creature artwork.
Oh, okay. So that's one image of what Emmerich sometimes looks like, along with his pal Price, his familiar.
All right.
Yeah, and the image is actually, people are big film connoisseurs. They'll catch that this is actually kind of a tribute to Vincent Price from Mask of the Red Death pose. With, instead of a falcon, we got his nice undead bird.
Ooh, okay. I can imagine a few people will try to build it because I know that Dollar Tree has these bird skeletons and stuff. I can imagine at least a couple of people who will try building that.
Mm-hmm. Board queen, yeah, she's also the board queen. She plays all sorts of cool. The thing about Alice is she always plays these nice, I can't, very icy, sensual, spooky European characters, if that's the best way to describe her.
The European is pretty broad, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know, sophisticated. I don't know. I know I'm from Canada, but I always say European,
Yeah,
sophisticated.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, I am European, and I don't think I'm sophisticated by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. So this is, as someone mentioned, Dragon's Domain from Space 1999. Here's a tribute to that creature.
Okay, the big one-eyed creature that you
He's a,
mentioned. Okay, yeah.
yes. He always in doorways and loves sucking people into his mouth, and he'll spit you out nice and charred with his nice little hypnotic eye.
I really like this style of drawing. Okay, kind of Mummified saber-tooth tiger, I'm guessing.
It's a mummified saber-toothed tiger. And this is kind of a tribute to this film, this whole, I won't tell you all the things in case anyone ever plays this, but this is a tribute to this TV 70s movie by Robert Bloch called Cat Creature, The Cat Creature. It's probably considered maybe absolutely horrible, but I loved it as a kid. It's about this cat creature that somebody takes off this medallion off a mummy and unleashes the cat creature
Dun,
that
dun,
can take on
dun.
human form and turn into a cat and all sorts of things and needs to suck blood to keep alive and all sorts of, I don't know. It was fun for its time, but yes.
And I'm guessing that you've got even more references packed in the book somewhere. So I think we're
Oh
just
yeah.
scratching the surface here. Yeah?
Yeah, this is not necessarily any particular film or anything. This is just your typical bog zombie. And there's lots of bog zombies in the Darkmire, kind of just, rotting. It could also, again, well, in case anyone ever comes across it, there are servants of this creature from the Cthulhu mythos called Glaki, who also
Mm-hmm.
live in the swamp. Um, there's a author who was very kind enough to allow me to use his creations named Ramsey Campbell, if somebody out there knows. Hopefully you all do, like I do, if you're Cthulhu
Mm-hmm.
Mythos fans. And
I
so
do
I
not.
reached out to him saying, can I put some of your Mythos beings in? He said, for sure. So he's also featured as an NPC as well as Lord Ramsey, expert of elder gods and pre-human history of the Mystmoor region sitting in the Citadel.
Okay.
So he knows about a bunch of this stuff. And some of his beings are floating around Mystmoor. Yes, and I have seen Billy. Yes, Dungeon Matron. I have seen Billy the Kid versus Dracula. How could we not see that? It must be seen. The horror in the doorway and not the mummified cat.
Yeah, because he was saying that
Gotcha too.
it looks like his cat, and that was talking about the horror in the doorway.
Yeah. This is just. I'll just put it this way: these masks, which come you can come across them here and there across Mistmoor, but they're very cursed and they have all sorts of different powers. And usually, if you fall sway to it, you will tick it up and just shove it onto your own face, destroying your face with all the
Ooh,
spikes. So, yes,
so like that kind
this
of
person's now withdrawing it and is now in the thrall of good old Emmerich.
so kind of like those masks that you were talking about at the beginning of the stream, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something about that mask I always loved, which is why, again, it's like right on cover. I don't know. It's just a cool looking mask.
Oh yeah. I mean, the style of this artwork reminds me out of the earlier Vampire the Masquerade artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think Loosely Collected is talking about this. There was an
Fighting
Italian
Nazi
zombie film with
zombies.
Nazi zombies coming out of the lake, if I recall right. It gives me that vibe.
Could be. Um, that's the thing. Eventually, again, sometimes there's things in people's back of their head, and you don't even know where the original inspirations come from.
Okay, and Danjameter is saying starring David Carradine, but I'm not sure if it was the Italian Nazi zombie movie or Billy the Kid versus Dracula.
I thought it was Billy the Kid.
Okay, David Carradine wasn't it?
I think David Carradine played Dracula a lot of times.
Really? All right.
Oh yeah, he was in a lot of things, like in the House of Frankenstein. Yeah, he plays the vampires quite a lot. Not David Carradine. John Carradine. David Carradine's from Kung Fu.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
was
Yeah, I
wondering. Yeah.
think yeah. John Carradine's the dad. He's also featured in
Ah,
Mistmoor
okay.
floating around. But the son, who's not a vampire, is Kane from Kung Fu and Kill Bill.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Did he do vampire movies? I didn't know that. And Lucy Collect is saying there's a couple of other old horror films with masks. One of them was in 3D.
Yeah, there's one with that giant floating skull mask too, where you go on psychedelic rides when it shoves on your face and all that. That was a classic.
Okay, and Dirt and Brick is saying, nice, reminds me of the monster
Superman
from Superman
4.
4. What was the monster in
Was
Superman 4?
Superman 4? I thought that was the one with the quest for peace. And that, oh, maybe he melted at the end. There was that nuclear man or something.
I
I have to say, I've never been able to sit through Superman 4 completely. Just
I think I
never
watched
could.
I think I watched absolutely every one of them when I was a kid, but I can't remember them at all.
Nuclear man. Yeah, it's Nuclear Man. His big like claws. I remember he scratched Superman and gave him radioactive sickness or something. Yes, and so yeah, this is another Cthulhian situation. One of the gods of Ramsey Campbell's Cthulhu mythos is Ehort, and you don't want to make bargains with Ehort because this is what usually happens when you make bargains with Ehort. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. So I mean the bottom here is definitely reminding me of Lawrence from Dirty Basement Terrain.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, the other thing I did when I was looking at these earlier, this reminded me of Slain from 2000 AD, the comics.
Hmm.
It's
That,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know if
didn't
you're
think of
familiar
that,
with that.
but yeah, interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah, you got a good point. I know what you're
Um,
talking about.
that is some badass artwork. Yep, I agree, Matty.
That is sick. Definitely.
Okay. This looks surprise. It looks like
Yes, this
some
is
kind of scribe or lawyer or something. I have no idea.
yeah, this is well, in case well, maybe I'll ruin it for any players who watch this, but in case you no, this is when good old Anthony Hopkins' character decides to change into his true form, which is a kind of like Wendigo type beast. If you watch the TV show Hannibal, where they make all the connections with the Wendigo, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to have this.
Okay.
Basically, he's possessed by this flesh-eating demonic spirit from the north, and it really pushes all of his behaviors and stuff. But this is what he looks like when he feels like turning into his monstrous form. And he certainly enjoys those prisoners for dinner.
Serving time takes on a whole different meaning. Okay, this is
And
what we
I
talked
think we've
about
gone through this one, the
earlier. Yeah.
Quatermass tribute. But yeah, the nice thing about this, the other thing I loved about Dartmoor slash Devonshire and the whole
Mm-hmm.
scenery of the Hounds of the Baskervilles is it's just perfect. It's got moors, fog, standing stones, backwards villages, manor houses.
Yeah, it's
You
kind of
know,
isolated as well in a way, even if it's civilized, but it's also kind
yeah,
of at the edges of stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And so, but the fact that it's all this prehistoric and standing
Mm-hmm.
stones and all that, it's like, oh, cool. Total Cthulhu mythos stuff can easily be flipped into this. Loigors and all sorts of things. So, yeah,
For sure.
and this is just those funny youth wandering around. There are various strange youth cults wandering around Mystmoor, prophesizing about being rescued by some forces from beyond, from the evil tyrannical rule of the the people in charge. Those
Sorry.
wild youth always causing trouble. Do you have any mad doctors? Says Dungeon Matron. Well, one of them is the guy, the warden, who's also kind of a medical type guy there. And there is a couple of really horrific kind of apothecary slash doctors at the Citadel. There's a lot of tributes to M.R. James ghost story type stuff too. And I won't go into too much, except there are some evil doctors trying to be immortal, and their experiments are not very nice for your average Joe.
Yeah, the Dungeon Matron is playing Plague Doctor in the Ravenloft game that Sean from Full Moon Crafting Studio was running first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's having a great time with it. I think she should have. Sorry, let me rephrase it. I'm happy she didn't go into medicine.
Ooh, the doctor from see, I know that film too with Dirk Benedict, Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica before Battlestar Galactica.
Face from
Because
dating.
yeah, because
All right.
if you guys don't know what it is, it's about a guy who turns people into snakes.
Okay.
But there is an area in Mystmoor which is actually kind of a land of the island of Dr. Moreau meets the world's most dangerous game. It's an area where this very mad hunter likes turning animals into intelligent beings and humans into animals and loves hunting them. In case you wanted to know, yeah, yeah. I don't have all the. There's art there with all his like the wonderful trophies of humanoid creatures on the walls. Oh, this is if anyone can guess what movie this is from. I don't know if this guy is actually going to be truly in the game or not.
Okay, so why does he have a jar of butter in his hands?
This is this is a yeah, and on the Mystmoor Kickstarter page, there's the whole. I did a kind of parody thing about this too for AI art. This is the symbol of organic art.
Oh, okay.
No AI art, all organic. It's like, would you like the taste of butter? Would you like to live deliciously? Would you like to have a nice dress? The Witch. Yes, thank you, loosely collected. I'm glad to see all the people on your stream are all film buffs like me. Yes, this is good old the, thank you, Black Phillip from The Witch, who's this, just looks like your typical animal till the end when he starts hopping around on hind legs and causing lots of
Okay.
trouble. But I always like Black Phillip. So here he is with his nice little organic butter and his nice organically made dress. And yeah, I just put him in as a symbol, but you never know. He might just appear as a character. Maybe he might be an avatar in Nyarlathotep for all I know,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I do like him. I
It is a
just,
very
as the
striking
artist,
picture.
just make him like this and make it a tribute to the witch.
Yeah,
I watched it, but didn't really enjoy it.
it's
Yeah, I know
definitely a
it's
very
a weird
striking
film,
feature.
loosely
Yeah.
collected. It's a film like every time you watch it, like my girl, like my older girl's like, can't watch it. They're going to hurt the baby, so they always stop at that point. And then if you go, it's just very disturbing. But I do like the end where either she has lost her mind
Hmm.
or she actually is having a supernatural encounter. Because I do like Black Phillip dancing around and bounce. Like I just skip to the end of the film and watch the end. It's too painful watching to get there though. For some reason though, my daughters seem to be able to watch The Lighthouse. Well, actually, one of them.
Okay, which one is Lighthouse?
Oh, The Lighthouse with Pattison and Defoe, and they're stuck on a light. It's the same director, writer who made The Witch made that,
Okay.
where they're stuck in this lighthouse and strange things start to happen and they're cut off by a storm and very, very, it's again, you have to have an acquired taste for those films.
Okay. Definitely going to look it up. Okay, this one I've got kind of an Elizabeth Buttery kind of vibe of this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One of the characters is very, very based on good old Bathory legend. They say Bathory never actually did any of this and was just all political uh evil to make her look bad so they can wipe her out. But at least in Mystmoor, this character actually does like to bathe in blood and keep their youth.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, it would take a fair amount of people to keep filling up butts with blood every day.
That's true. But that's why they have lots of what do you call them? Serfs out in
Yeah.
the neighborhoods.
Okay, so the science of Mistmore, I know this was one of your how do you call them? How would you call them? Accessories to the main thing, but I really like the this project. So would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, again, as I get distracted to kind of like, I don't know how other people work on their projects. I have a bit of ADHD, which is why I just kind of wander around, and sometimes I need the art before I can write, and I write to get to the art. And then for some reason, I felt like having, as I was trying to make a video for Mystmoor, because they always say for Kickstarters you need a video. So I just think far in advance, like, okay, I'll do that. But as I started looking for someone to like sing something like the prose poem I wrote, said, oh, why don't I just do more and more? And then next thing you know, I got all sorts of different people involved, including our good pal Meredith. Even did a reading of one of the things I wrote and just turned it into a soundtrack. And so, as of now, too, all the musical artists are going to be featured as NPCs as well. They're actually a group of bards and minstrels who are actually empowered by the spirits of music to battle evil. And so they'll have their own certain types of special powers, including a musical elemental that are there. So when you encounter them, you can always play one of their songs if you feel like creating some immersion. But
Okay.
yeah, the music's about different places and situations in the actual Mystmoor campaign.
I think you can look up some. Did you put the entire thing on YouTube, or was it just some samples? If we could watch.
Samples, and I think on the actual Mystmoor site too, there's just clips. Like the beginning of every song is on a YouTube video, so you can get a taste of what it all sounds like. And I put the booklet with all the words on it as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've been giving these out as gifts for anyone who's playing any of the games and any of the updates. So with the updates, like guess the NPCs or guess this or guess that movie reference, and then you win a free album.
Okay. Okay. So with the last item here, Murder in the Mist.
Oh, wait, I just saw Earthman Brick has Torgo goats. I don't know Torgo the goat. I know Torgo from Tomb of Dracula, who was a vampire lord, but I do not know who Torgo the goat is. You stumped me. See, I don't know everything.
Hmm.
Uh, You'll have to tell us, Earthman Brick, who the heck Torgo the goat is. Okay. I'm not always like everyone else. I watch stuff. Anyways, yeah, as you're typing who the heck Torgo is, I said all I know of him is he's
Yeah.
an
Please
older
tell us.
vampire than Dracula who has a big battle with him. But Murder on the Mist, so that's the introductory adventure. It actually popped again through me doing Chaos, which I was working on the Eagle of Ashcroft Hall, this scenario, mini scenario, which is kind of Hounds of the Baskervilles meets the Maltese Falcon mix. But then as it was going along, I was like, how do you get from here to there? And I created this riverboat. And then I had some ideas of like, what are some cool horror things that have happened on riverboats? A little tribute to Death on the Nile, along with certain TV things I've seen happen on boats in horror TV shows. Go, yeah, I'll put that all together. So it's optional. So it's a standalone adventure, introductory. So it's also a way for people who are not in Mystmoor to go into Mystmoor, get to know about it, and so on. Also solve a murder and try to survive some horrific situations. And it can also just be put into the actual Eagle of Ashcroft Hall as the beginning kicker offer adventure as well. Torgus from the best horror movie. Manos, the Hands of Fate. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Sorry, Alpha, I'm just reading Manos, the Hands of Fate. Okay, I got to write that down because I always mean to. But there is one other goat. There's one of my favorite goats of all time is
Yeah.
from Drag Me to Hell. Do you ever see Drag Me to Hell?
Nope.
It's one of those Sam Raimi films, which is based on Curse or Night of the Demon. And there's a seance where there's this goat who starts talking.
Okay.
I won't say what it says, but I always love that goat. MSK, you gotta watch Werewolf. Yeah, okay. Piece of it. Yeah, okay. I have to have another episode one day. Goats, horror goats, greatest of all time goats in horror films. But yeah, anyway, so Murder on the Mist, I've tested it a few times and it's actually kind of developed even more. And I'll be running this at Rune Jammer.
Yep,
as well.
I was
So I
going to
got
say
some people.
don't put out too many spoilers because you've hooked
Yeah,
to another.
yeah. And as soon as it's done after Rune Jammer, I have a whole bunch of art. So it'll probably be able to be released shortly after, along with the rest of the Mystmoor stuff as well.
Okay, just trying to post a link to that in a second to the Jimmer stuff. So, which games are you running over there? Because I know you're running this and what
Sorry.
else? I said, what else are you running at Jimmer? Because I know you're running Murder on the Mistmoor Express.
Right. So the
Sorry,
Murder
Murder on
on
the
the
Mist
Mist, and I'm going
and
to also run Nightfall, which you also play tested, and I'm
yep.
adjusting to. Nightfall is actually an assignment danger kind of gonzo adventure. So it's a espionage one based on Thunderball and some other things. And seen people had a lot of fun on that one too at yeah. So that'll also be coming out later on uh afterwards. Just because actually where's our pal? Who yeah, BGD, who I know is, he asked me, can you do the espionage one just as a change of pace instead of all the fantasy things? So that's why I was going to do that as well.
Nice.
So after that's done, I'll probably put it out for the community.
I mean, it was super fun to play, and I've already seen the artwork that you've prepared for that. So nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So Dungeon Matron is saying he's trying to get into those games, but they're already fully booked.
Already booked. Really? I still have space on mine. You sure? Or if you're trying to get into mine, I got space. At least as of yesterday. I actually hooked up to play at yours, Dungeon Matron, because I never actually got to play with you yet. So I think yes. Yeah, Maddie C was there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I had a couple of questions about the other your writing process and the publishing process because uh, I've got a rough idea of what you've designed for Mistmoon and stuff. But what's your process of getting it onto paper? It's like just do you start writing small blocks and refining it? Do you just go all out and then sort it out later?
Well, I have an outline like of this has to be
Mm-hmm.
completed, but I will go like, intro, tips, conversions for systems, weather, seasons, festivals, the Citadel, like all the sections are there. And then
Mm-hmm.
whenever I feel like it, I just start writing and writing until I'm gonna go back and forth, back and forth. Part of the original thing though is I'm just thinking about again what holds it all together. There's a meta plot which doesn't need to be followed because I don't believe in railroading,
Mm-hmm.
but like the head bad guy does have his agents, and there are things like he does want to take over the entire area and pretty much controls everything already. And what's his plan for taking over the rest of the realm and all that? So that's all there. So that also informs a lot of the other sections first. Sorry, you have to have that in place, like what's underneath it all, and then build from there. And then it's pretty simple because the other thing is they're trying to keep it modular, so it's easy to if people say, "Oh, I don't like this," they can just chop it out. Or it's like, "Oh,
Okay.
I want to take this and take it into another game." That's fine. So you can like take like I don't know, take the evil spirit and say, "Okay, this is how they work and all that."
So
Play
everything is
with it,
kind of
whatever.
self-contained kind of thing.
Yeah,
All right.
it's self-contained, and then there'll always be a little section saying if you want to contain it to the meta plot, this is how you connect it to the meta plot. If you don't want to connect to the meta plot, that's fine too. But yeah, it's like again, as I said, like to me, it's nice to have an underlying kind of menace, a bigger menace underneath. It just gives more depth to everything. So if you do want to run a campaign, you can. If you don't want to run a campaign, that's fine too. But also the concept too about what they call the West Marches or modular thing. Like, why not run a campaign where it's a sense of even if it's one shots, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
always have to be the same characters. It's kind of like it's all in the same world, but they could be doing different things, and based on what one session of people does, it influences the rest of the
Yeah, that makes
section
sense.
in the world. And some new players come in and do whatever, and that's fine. But it does create some cohesion over time, and you can write up some chronicles at the end and send it out to everybody and like, here's the what happened. Thank you. But I always feel like if you, well, again, it could be because of my age now, knowing people's time. No one has time to commit to a 1 year campaign, but they are ready to commit to one shots. And you can always have the one shots tie into each other in different ways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I picture designing all this stuff. Um, Versus saying if I have to do this, 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 and this to ever get to the end, you might lose a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but hopefully it
Yeah, yeah, it
does.
does. It does. And
Yeah.
I think you mentioned earlier also that you need the art to be able to write, or how does that work exactly?
Well, again, the nice thing about homaging is a lot of these stories and things are in place. Like, this is the nice thing about innovations. It's like taking two different things, shoving together, mixing them together, and watching things become different. So, like, even Nightfall
Mm-hmm.
took Thunderball, but it's not Thunderball really, as you know, because they took some other stuff and suddenly took some stuff from Mission Impossible, and I took something from something I won't say in case we don't want to ruin some of the
And there
surprises.
is stuff. There's of course
And
stuff.
mix it together, and suddenly I'm like, whoa, it's very different. And even though if I only played one, it's like peanut butter and chocolate. Show them together, tastes different than either one alone. But the thing is, because I watch way too many movies, read too many comic books, watch way too much TV, it's easy for me just to kind of like flip that into things and just go, what about if I change it here, change it there? And then I just attribute everything. One thing too is I don't ever pretend that this is all my own original stuff. It's definitely based on things. And again, it's like saying this is my homage to like my childhood and youth in a lot of ways and all the things I love. And so this is what I'm writing about. And if you like it too, cool. And yeah. Also, I write tons. I write all the time because as a psychiatrist, I have to write reports. I have to write about people. I have to write about situations. I'm just writing all the time. So I'm used to just writing and getting into that techniques. I've also, taken like courses on how to write and break through writing blocks, like
Okay.
through morning pages and stuff. Like, again, I do have that group on my Discord server. You're all welcome to join. Who are any writers who want,
Actually,
where,
let me get you.
once a month or whatever, we
Let me
all
grab
just sit around and just chat about pushing our projects together and giving ourselves mutual support. Because I do believe writers should have like writers support to kind of just, how you doing? What's going on? Ideas, like it's very useful. And it also keeps everybody moving along, having like a buddy system.
Okay,
But
just going to drop a
also,
link to your Discord in the chat. Okay.
okay. And yeah, the other thing too is just playing and having fun. And part of the thing too is you got to play test a lot of this stuff because then it'll write itself. It's like doing comedy or whatever else, or any of these kind of experiential things. The more you do it, the more you start learning about, oh, cool. Let me write that down. They did this. Let me write that down. Wow. Let me expand that. You know, and so it writes itself. If you try to write everything as an armchair role player or whatever, someone who never actually runs it, it's not. It often will not work. It's like, did anyone ever play test this? It doesn't make any sense. But a lot of people do write that way, and so to me, part of this was just playing and writing and playing to go hand in hand.
Okay, I get you. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if I could say anything else. And again, it's just like just making time for it. It's hard. But
yeah, yeah.
part of the way I debrief from my day job and dealing with all the stress is the writing actually makes me happy to get all these dark thoughts out into this kind of more
Okay.
useful thing.
Yeah, Greenwood Games is saying
Grimwood
playtest,
Games.
playtest, playtest, playtest. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can never play test enough, but at a certain point you just say it's good enough. I'm gonna release it to the universe. But yeah, but that's why people then modify it years later and go, okay, this is the updated version.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, at least it's not that rough. It's not like you're breaking rocks or anything. I mean, like I enjoy playtesting, for example, both for stuff I
Mm-hmm.
wrote and for stuff other people wrote. The only thing about that is that sometimes you really have to, as the writer, you really have to hunt out criticism because okay, we played the game now. Okay, tell me everything that was wrong with that.
But also say what all the things that were good with it too. So
Yeah,
that's the
fair,
key
fair enough.
is when we do simulations, part of the debrief is also things you would keep the same, things you might improve, things that really stuck with you. You know, again, when I was running the Anvil scenario
Hmm.
at the very beginning, what was really cool was the play testers were saying what really was getting to them was they weren't sure what was real or not anymore, which, and it said, oh, I wasn't even intending that. I thought, but it became more and more clear. The simulation is like, is this body really dead or not or what? I don't know. And because when I brought in the bad guys later in this particular
Are
scenario
they
for
part of the
Time
simulation
and
or not?
Danger,
Yeah, I
as you
remember.
remember, yeah, it seemed actually people were much more interested, or there was much more engaging, like not knowing what was going on at the beginning because of the Sims, and then I just enhanced that a lot for more and more play testing to make that even more stick out. But yeah, what you might think as a writer might not always be what most players find the most interesting thing. Uh, but you only find that as everyone's saying in the comments, playtest, playtest, playtest.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing about what the players might find interesting is it's always very hit and miss in my experience. It's like it might be just one throwaway character that for some reason suddenly becomes the most interesting person in the universe or something like that. It's
No, it's true.
but I mean, it's
And
good. You have to roll with it sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, and the other thing too, I still believe though, is I don't write for a particular audience that's commercial.
Mhm.
uh, I just write for what I like writing. And whether it sells or not, I don't know. But I just figure there's enough kindred spirits out there. Someone's going to probably like it. I'm not trying to do like Wizards of the Coast type stuff and appeal to everybody's taste and everybody's thing. And I'm sure some of the things I might put down, they'll go, oh, I don't like that stuff, or it's too bloody or whatever. It's like, okay, but that's why I said it's like mature themes and, it's about this and it's based on that. So, that's what I write.
No, I mean, look,
I don't want to write things.
if you try to please everyone, by definition, it's going to be very bland because you're literally hitting the least common denominator. So
Mhm. Then as a writer too, why are you doing it? What's the enjoyment? Again, it's like being a game
yeah, good
master.
point.
Why
Good
run the
point.
game you don't want to run? Why do you want to write things you're not enjoying? Now, if you're like hungry, I suppose you're doing it to survive. That's one thing. But if you're not doing it to survive and you're doing this more as a hobby and a pleasure, then it should be a hobby and a pleasure.
Definitely, absolutely.
In my opinion, at least.
No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bruce, how about we look at the community showcase, see what kinds of craft people have thrown in there.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, let me bring that up. 1 second. Here we go. Oh, I have no idea what that is, but it looks terrifying. Here we go. Okay, so where did I put that?
Fleshy bases. This makes me think of Hellraiser.
Evil cookies. I mean, really interesting texture on those, but yeah, Definitely horrifying. You. Good job, Steve. I like this.
Yeah. Who
Um,
made
uh,
that?
Earthman Brick. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm interested in what he's going to put on them because that's definitely going to be interesting as well.
I'm picturing Cenobites.
Yeah.
A lot of Cenobites.
Okay, this is from Campaign Terrain. That's a lot of Flockman, but it's also in a lot of interesting colors. So not sure what you're planning, but I think it's going to be fun. Okay, let's see. I keep losing my windows. All right, so okay, so Cross from Campaign Terrain also made some wattle fences of his own. Okay, they definitely look a lot more structured than the ones I made. They're definitely in better conditions.
Hmm. Is that a tiny Etten?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? The one back here.
Yeah. Cool.
Ah, okay, that's looking very colorful.
Cool.
Loosely collected is saying like, yeah, loosely collected. Please do that. Those are really interesting looking. Okay. I think it's the kind of nice, colorful, and a bit more cheery, but that's good stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, that's something we're talking about. Oh, okay, this is from Questboard Terrain. So it's the gigantic slug she's working on for the for our next crafting challenge, which is all about transportation.
Nice.
And yeah, Kim, I see what you were talking about yesterday about just being like breaking. That must have taken ages to glue all those leaves on. Do you use miniatures much or at all, Bruce? Bruce,
Sorry.
do you use miniatures at all in your games?
Uh, Not usually, only because I do everything mostly online. So I just appreciate everybody's amazing terrain. I used to,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm mostly theater of the mind. Sorry, everybody.
Okay. These are some nice. I think these are MDF kits. Definitely look like something that from a muddy field. I think they're done up really well. Okay. Oh, and yeah, this is Stefano from Chimera War Gaming. I think that horse could definitely fit in this one. And I think, yeah, lose the collected one.
I'm always amazed by the amazing artistry shown here.
Yeah, I mean, both the painting and crafting that everyone does is pretty special stuff.
Yeah, I went into psychiatry as opposed to surgery because I'm not really great with my dexterous, not a great dexterous hand person. So this is always very impressive.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like, even if I make something and I mess it up, I still have the satisfaction of just putting something together.
Mhm.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
cool.
Okay, this is loosely collected, and I'm not sure what they call it, but it's something from Turnip 28. what did they say it was called? Yeah, the Great Proboscis. The Great Proboscis. How do you pronounce that?
Viscous.
Proboscis. Okay.
Yes. I like his crystalline hairdo.
Yeah. That's a lot of texture. There we go. Just
Hey,
show you
nice.
several eyes in there. Whoa. I think this is going to be amazing when it's painted up. It's already looking
Can you
very
imagine
good.
it was done like a stop animation or like slow? Can you imagine like you can see the green crawling all over it, taking over.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you should do that, loosely collected. I mean, it would take forever to film, but you know, as long as I'm not the one doing it, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But that was great work.
It was looking like a Ray Harryhausen creature at the end.
Oh yeah, pretty
One of
much.
them big Cyclops guys.
Okay, Bruce. So I know Mystmoor is still going on, but do you have anything planned after that and Nightfall?
Yeah, just to write everything up, finish it off, take all the backend material and get it out for everybody. Then after that, we'll see what happens next. I'll say I don't I just let things happen and see who I can collaborate with and go from there. Probably, if anything, I'll just try to write up a few of these scenarios, books, and little mini campaigns to go with Mystmoor. Probably be take up the rest of the time
Okay.
until the new year.
Okay, so you're not going to start a new project until this one's finished.
You never know with me, but it all depends. But yeah, I think this one will keep me busy for a while. Because that's another good thing about a project like doing a Kickstarter is it forces you to do your obligations. So it
Okay,
keeps me
yeah, I got you.
steady. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's a really good point. So it's rather than say, okay, I'll publish when I publish. No, here's my deadline. Off I go.
Yeah, deadlines are very useful for people like me. We just like we I like to meet them. So I actually like to do it before. So yeah.
Okay. Actually, I just thought of something. Yeah. What about the writer circles on your Discord? Uh, in case people want to join, how often would they be happening? When? Where? Now, where there's a channel on this on your Discord, so there's that.
It varies. I mean, it's a very small amount of people on my Discord, but you know, you're all of you who are watching, you're most welcome. And yeah, depending on what people want to do, play tests occur. Got a little writing circle that happens once in a while. Yeah,
Okay.
it's yeah. Come board, see what happens.
Okay, yeah. By the way, that advice you gave me about keeping a notepad and just writing stuff down as it happens rather than waiting for the end of the day and forgetting everything. It's so useful.
Oh yeah, having your idea book kicking
Yeah.
around is useful.
Yeah, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
Okay, your audio levels are really low, Carl. Okay, I think I was just standing a bit too far from the speaker, but thanks, Steve. But yeah, Bruce, I think I've kept you for quite a while today. So thank you again.
Well, thank you for having me on again.
It's always a pleasure,
Always a
man.
pleasure
Always a pleasure.
to talk with you and your community.
Okay, so probably we'll catch you at Rune Gemmer next. So yeah,
Yes.
good luck. Have a great time, and I'm really looking forward to get my hands on the books.
All right. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Okay, 1 second. Let's see. Okay, loosely collected. Just dropped in some more stuff. Let's just catch it before we go. Okay, I'm not sure. Loosely collected, where did you add them? Quick check, 1 second.
Some tall man somewhere.
Yeah. Ah, okay, here we go. Oh, okay. I found it. Just took a second to come up. I think this is definitely strong Wickerman vibes.
Mm.
You put them in here, it's easier. And that thing is huge and yeah. Yeah, for example, this again is something that I could see in Mystmoor, for example.
It's cool. What setting is this creature for, or being, or automaton? Is this
Uh,
like
I'm not sure if it's for Turnip 28, which is a tabletop war game,
hmm,
or some other setting, but yeah, I think it fits in Turnip 28. Let's see if I. Yeah, the Turnip 28 is this kind of weird Napoleonic
the Wicker
Wars
Man?
kind of thing. Yeah.
Just say it's a Wicker Man. By the way, there is the Wicker Man in Mistmoor too. Gotta love your Wicker Man. We haven't talked about Wicker Man yet, but there you go. Carl, if you haven't seen the Wicker Man, you should watch the Wicker Man.
I have watched Joe Herman, the one with Christopher Lee, not the one with Nicolas Cage.
Mhm. Not the remake,
Not
the
the remake.
original.
Yeah, so Turnip 28 is like this weird fantasy version of the Napoleonic Wars where everyone is made of root vegetables, kind of thing.
Oh, neat. Now this looks like it's part of like a post-apocalyptic world as well. I mean, it looks so cool. You can be in many different things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, Loosely Collected, that was some amazing work. Thanks for posting it. Okay, and off we go. Okay, so sorry about the we're saying. Oh yeah, sorry. Trying to catch up where I was. Yep, I have jumped off my train of thought. So yeah, we're about to wrap up. So Bruce, thank you again so much for joining us, and I am really looking forward to getting my hands on the books. And anyone else, I'm just going to leave links to your Kickstarter again. And because you also have a bunch of other projects which we have not talked about today, also a link to your site.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, man. So take care and have a lovely week. And everyone, thank you for watching and thanks for joining in the conversation. Bye.